intertwined and symbiotic with one another in the next 2, 5, 10 years. I mean, they'll almost be totally seamless, and they already are in a lot of ways,
Yep.
But unfortunately, a lot of people can only afford to go to one of these things. They're all roughly within a few months of each other, and they're all on the West Coast, Vegas and LA and San Diego. And, if you're coming from the East Coast or the Midwest, you're saving your pennies and you're flying out to E3, or you're flying out to Comic-Con, or you're flying out to CES, and you're not going to have the flow to really, come back for the other two. And so I thought, well, that's kind of a bummer. And especially since these are the same people that would want to go typically to each one of these things. So I wanted to offer fans a one-stop shop. I wanted to give them a place where if they did miss out on E3 or CES, they could come to Nerd HQ and they could still play some of the hottest, not released game demos that are out on the market. And so, and play with some technology that's, kind of cutting edge and up and coming. And that way they at least get little pieces of it while simultaneously getting to enjoy what I feel is not a competition with Comic-Con, but rather a complement to it, a slightly different way of looking at Comic-Con and wanting to offer to the fans. And by doing that, we're going to have these panels. Now, again, at Comic-Con, you have, Hall H that fits like 10,000 people in it. And that's amazing because, if you're Kevin Smith or Joss Whedon or whatever, and you're standing there, you're like a Beatle at Shea Stadium. I mean, the fans are going crazy and the energy is electric, and that's all awesome. And I can't compete with that, nor do I want to compete with that. What I want to offer fans is a panel experience that is kind of it's a more intimate experience, and one where they don't have to wait all day in line in order to secure a seat, but rather they can secure a seat by making a charitable donation. Because I'm always trying to think philanthropically, and I'm always trying to think of, well, what's a really cool interactive way where fans and celebrities both get a really fun experience. Fans get an intimate panel and conversation with somebody that they know and love. Celebrities get an awesome opportunity to talk to an intimate group where they're not having to shout or, you can't see the people in the back of the house. And instead of it being a moderator asking questions for an hour, it's all fan-driven. So fans, for a $20 minimum donation, although we hope they donate more, get to secure a seat in a group of about 200 to 250 people. So it's real small, it's real intimate. And for an hour, they get to ask all the burning questions that they have stored up. Scott Bakula is going to do a panel. I mean, I want to ask him questions about Quantum Leap.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean? Hell yeah.
And that's one of the other things too. Well, some of the panels are going to be project specific, or I guess more project specific. A lot of the panels are just going to be personality specific. So, some panelists like Zach Quinto, for example. So, I didn't want to do a Star Trek panel, and I didn't want to do a Heroes panel. I wanted to do a Zach Quinto panel. I think Zach's been a buddy of mine for years, and he's so dynamic and so smart and so awesome with his fans, and he's got so many other things that he's working on. So I thought, well, why not have Zach come through and let fans talk to him about his new comic book ventures, his new projects that he's working on. They can ask him questions about Star Trek, which I'm sure they're going to want to ask. Everybody does. They could ask him questions about Heroes. They could ask him questions about, him waiting tables before he ever got his break as an actor. I mean, who knows? But if you give people this opportunity that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like Comic-Con meets Inside the Actors Studio meets TED. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's just
it's Nerd HQ. That's what it is.
It's Nerd HQ. Exactly. And then again, so we'll have panels all day, every day, and then we're going to live stream those too. So obviously we know that only so many people can fit into the panel room, and a lot of people just can't make it to Comic-Con in general. And I didn't want them to miss out. I want them to still be able to have a fun experience. So if you didn't get a ticket for the panel, or if you didn't even make it to San Diego at all, you still have an opportunity to kind of tune in and be a part of these conversations. And then we're going to also have like a fun little podcast experience that's also fan driven. As you can tell, I really like the fans and I really like fan driven stuff. So my buddy Adam, he's one of our creatives over at the Nerd Machine. He's a really, really funny guy, really funny writer. And, I don't know, a couple months ago, we were twitcasting, just live streaming from our phones like you do because technology is awesome.
Yep.
And we were Adam, myself, and Dave Coleman, my partner at the Nerd Machine. We were all driving to a meeting, and we had two phones, twitcasting, and just like pumping some music in the car. Adam's driving, and just having fun. Just giving fans a glimpse into whatever our everyday life is, which oftentimes is bubkiss, means nothing, but but it still can be fun. And we get to our destination, and I'm looking at my Twitter feed, and a girl had asked, she said, "Who is that guy driving? He's so cute. And what is his phone number?" So I shared it with Adam, and we smiled. And I said, "Dude, it would be really funny if we tweeted out your phone number."
Oh, boy.
And he said, "Okay."
Oh, boy.
So, and by the way, and this is one of the things I love the most about Twitter or just technology is just like experimenting with it.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I've never tweeted out anyone's phone number on Twitter and then been around that person for the rest of the night and seen what the response was. And none of us had. So we thought, well, why not? We'll try it out. 400 text messages and 7 hours straight of the phone not stopping ringing. That was the response.
Right.
He could not. I mean, literally. He kept trying to put the phone on speaker so we could all hear what was going on, but he couldn't even have a chance. He didn't even have a chance to hit the iPhone to hit speaker before another call was coming in that he had to decline,
right,
or hitting speaker, but he couldn't because another call was coming in or a text message or whatever. I mean, it was just incredible. It wasn't just people. And by the way, at this point it was in the evening, so you'd think, well, okay, time zone, we're only going to be looking at anyone from the Pacific to the East Coast. This is pretty much only going to be domestic. No, it was people calling
around the world,
in the middle of the night for them from from France and Australia and the Philippines and Ukraine. And I mean, it was amazing. It was just amazing. And so to me, I go, that's powerful, and that's really cool for a fan to have that kind of access. Clearly, I mean, they all thought it was, at least all those people thought, oh, I'm going to try this at least. Maybe this is a joke, maybe it's not, but even for a chance to call up and talk to Adam and Zach and see if this is real and ask them a question, maybe. And a lot of people were taken by surprise because they thought it was a joke. And when they finally called in, and Adam was giving them crap because he's just hysterical, and they'd call and he'd say hello. And they say, "Hi, who's this?" And he goes, "Who's this? Come on, you call me. Where'd you get my number?" And they go, "Well, online." "Oh, what a creep. You're just getting people's numbers online and calling them. That's so creepy." I mean, it was just really fun, And they all had a great time with it. And after that, we thought, well, we can do our own roaming radio show, our own roaming podcast. You can do it wherever you want. And we could be sitting down. I could be sitting down at lunch with one of my celebrity friends in LA and be like, "Hey, how fun would it be if we do 15 minutes right now where fans call in?" And so we got a Twitter handle. It's Adam's phone, and we're going to roam around the Nerd HQ. And, I think Chris Evans is going to do an Adam's phone segment with us. I think Will.I.am from, I mean, it's like, and by the way, Will.I.am is a big nerd. A lot of people don't know that, but he is really, really nerdy. And I love it. He's super into technology and how that connects people and how that pertains to entertainment. And, and anytime you can have a Black Eyed Pea show up at Nerd HQ, that's
a bonus.
It's pretty awesome.
That's some cred.
Yeah, right. So the panels for charity, which I am super excited about, and excited about all the people that are coming on. I think Kevin Smith is going to do an hour and a half on Saturday morning, I think. Oh, maybe it's Friday morning. I can't remember. No, Saturday morning. And from 10 to 11:30, he's going to live podcast while we live stream it. And with 250 people in the audience, he's going to do a live podcast from Nerd HQ with me, where we're just going to talk about nerdy things and take questions from the audience. And I'm like, dude, that's Kevin Smith. He's one of the kings of nerd, and he's going to come and hang out at the Nerd HQ. when I started cracking this idea, and I thought, well, this could be pretty fun. I was dreaming that people like Kevin Smith would want to be a part of it,
and now he is.
But now he is, And then aside from all that, kind of getting back to the other parts of it, like the gaming and the tech of it all, I from day one, I dreamt that, because look, dude, I'm a huge gamer, and Xbox is primarily the platform that I play on. I play on PS3. There are some titles exclusive to them, like Uncharted, that I just
you have to if you're a real nerd.
Yeah, I think so. And even Wii. I think that there's some really fun titles on Wii. And I think Nintendo's, done some really cool things. And again, especially as technology is concerned, I love how each one of the entities kind of pushes each other forward, We, with the Wiimotes, I mean, that was pretty, that was setting a precedent for sure and setting a bar. And then obviously, Sony's followed up with Move, and Kinect is just tremendous, man. I love being able to talk to my Xbox and tell it to do things and wave my hand and, the magic hand that rules the box. I mean, it's incredible. It's got a little ways to go, and I'm excited for where the future is going to take all motion control and all that stuff. But for the most part, and this is not just because we're talking, and it's not just because Xbox is a sponsor of the Nerd HQ, but kind of, getting to that point, I have always been a huge Xbox fan, man. And the reason why is because I love the online component. Yeah. And I feel like you guys have done it. Xbox has done it in spades for so long. I mean, I was on Xbox Live when it first launched, man. I was one of the first. I want to say I was one of the first 1,000, although I could be wrong about that. But I mean, there was nobody on.
Yeah,
bro. It was there were 3 games that anybody was playing. It was I think Quake.
Yep. Rainbow.
No, Rainbow Six. I don't think even Rainbow Six was on at that point. It was Quake. It was Ghost Recon, the original Ghost Recon.
That's right.
And it was Mechasalt, I think.
Oh, Mechasalt, exactly.
Yes. And so you only had 3 options. It was well, what do you really want to play? And for me, all 3 games were fun, but Quake is so run and gun and so frantic, and I was getting just pwned left and right, man. Right. I couldn't keep up with those guys that played it on their PCs all those years, and were now taking it to console, and it was so fast paced, and I was like, I can't do it. And with Mechasalt, it was a lot of fun, but I really love warfare stuff when it comes to soldiers, and I love strategery. Mm-hmm. I love being online with a guy, and he's like, okay, so check it out. You're going to flank right. I'm going to flank left. Yeah. Bob, you're going to go up the middle. Throw the stun grenade. Give us a second. We're going to go in. We're going to breach and clear. That stuff to me is super fun.
Do you remember Splinter Cell Online 2 versus 2?
You know what? I never played it.
Oh, that would be right up your alley.
I love Splinter Cell, but there were a lot of games that had online components that I could never get to, because now in the gaming community and in just the kind of world that we can play in now, there are so many options. I feel like I'm constantly having to juggle titles all the time, and I don't have very much time as it is with the show and whatnot, so it makes it a little tough. But no, I heard that was great. And look, Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy, so many. I remember the first time I jumped online, and I had it was a 40-year-old guy. I don't even, and he was like, I jumped in. I was like, hey guys, I've never done this before. I've never played with strangers online, and it was on the farm map, and the guy's like, hey buddy, don't worry about it. Just stick with me and you'll be fine. I mean, it was a soldier taking another, young private under his wing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And going and fighting alongside guys, and really having to use strategy. And if you were a spawn killer, you were booted in seconds. Nobody tolerated that kind of stuff. There was an etiquette. There was an online gaming etiquette,
just like driving etiquette.
And what kind of bums me out is, nowadays I don't play with strangers as much, because I find there to be